Several weeks ago I got an email asking me if I want to review this watch, and I took a look at its specs, and they've sent the watch down and it has not disappointed. It's an automatic Miyota, beautiful looking watch. That crystal is just drop dead gorgeous, and I'm so happy it hasn't disappointed in the hand, because the last thing I wanted to get was something that was built really cheaply. This is built extremely well. The finishing of the case, the transition between that beautiful brushing and high polish has surprised me, especially at this price point. Now, the watch is not perfect. There are copious amounts of flaws on this watch, but I love it. And I'm going to share the flaws, I'm going to share the things that I don't like, and I'm going to share the things that I do like. So let's dive in and have a close look at this Crossroads from Trafford. Welcome back, guys. So the watch in question, it's called the Crossroads and it's from Trafford, a company they've got a few watches that they've actually made, and this particular one here, I'm quite impressed at the finished product. What I've got is just lovely. It is so nice to look at, a really easy reading experience of the time on that dial, but just the design language, the way that this thing is put together has really impressed me. And like I said at the beginning of the video, there's about 3-4 things that I don't like about this watch, but you know what, I'm going to be honest, it's not even a deal breaker, because the execution, the finishing, the final product, it's very good. So without further ado, let's have a close look at what we've got in the hand. So being in a rectangular shape, the size is unusual. So I measure a case diameter, or I should say a width of 36.4 and a height of 37.7. So it's equivalent to about a 40mm watch. The lug to lug I measure at 45.6. The case height comes in at 11.2 to the top of that beautiful curved sapphire crystal, and the lug width is 20mm. Now the watch features an oversized 7.4mm push-pull crown. It's signed and it offers 50 meters of water resistance, and the total weight of this watch on the supplied leather strap comes in at exactly 80 grams. So looking at the watch on my 18cm wrist, as you can see, it's sitting superb. It's equivalent to about a 40mm watch. That lug to lug distance of about 45.6 is not an issue, and that height, I measure exactly 11.2mm. It's been a pleasure all week. Now the watch comes on an Italian leather strap with very good hardware. As you can see, a signed tang buckle. It's been comfortable, but I can already see with that orange accent and that gorgeous blue dial, there's plenty of leeway for experimentation with straps. Now the sapphire crystal on this watch is drop dead gorgeous for me. And I say that because the case itself is slightly curvaceous, and that crystal, that sapphire, follows that shape. But in doing so, you're also going to get a little bit of distortion right at the extreme edges, as you can see. And to me, I love what I'm seeing because it adds character to this watch. You really have to go extreme to get that distortion, but looking at it straight on, not an issue, even side on, not an issue. But in saying that, the sapphire will pick up reflections because of the nature of its shape, regardless of the fact that it does have anti-reflective coating on it. But overall, it's doing a very decent job for this type of watch. It also features a sapphire exhibition case back, as you can see. Now speaking of that case back, the movement in this watch is a Miyota 9039, hand windable hacking, 28,800 vibrations per hour, and it also features its custom rotor, as you can see. And this particular one here seems to be running quite healthy. I've had it on the time grapher. It's roughly +4 to +5 seconds per day. Now, if we pull out that crown, it's one click, there's no ghost date, and as you can see, it hacks the movement. So we can adjust the time to wherever we want, lock it in, and that movement starts. So very easy to use, the hand winding experience as you'd expect from a Miyota, and looking at that crown, it's an oversized 7.4mm, a pleasure to use, easy to grab, but it would have been great if this watch offered 100 meters instead of 50 meters of water resistance, just to suit our lifestyle. And speaking of the movement, the watch is going to come with 2 different types of options. They've got the Miyota automatic in this particular one, but they're also going to offer a Mecha Quartz, a VH31 Seiko Mecha Quartz, for a slightly cheaper price. Now if I turn my attention to the lume of the watch, it's Swiss Superluminova BGW9. Looking at the intensity, for me, I'm quite disappointed. And being a pre-production version, I get a lot of watches on the channel which they don't put the full Lume application because it is a prototype or pre-production, and that's a shame because we don't get to see what it really looks like. So hopefully in the finalized version, that'll have its full intensity of BGW9 because the look of the watch is actually quite nice. Now if I turn my attention to that leather strap, as you can see it's an Italian leather, quite nice stitching. It's got quick release spring bars and also very nice tang buckle. It's a good gauge of steel there and nicely brushed, as you can see. The watch is going to be available on Kickstarter. I'll leave all the links in the description. I believe there's going to be a pre-order price of $4.99 for the automatic and $3.99 for the quartz, and then it's going to come in at $6.99 and $4.99 respectively at recommended retail. There's also different colorways, guys. The one I've got here is the blue bonnet. They've also got a red like a Cabernet, a Mockingbird and an Agave. I'll leave the links, you guys look it up. What do I think of the negatives of this watch and the positives? Well, for me, first and foremost, the negatives, that sapphire crystal, for me, I think it's glorious. I think it's fantastic. I really love it, but I'm going to put it in the negatives because a lot of people might find it annoying with the amount of reflections. You see the reflections coming off that dial? It's unfortunate because having a crystal with this type of shape, it's pretty much unavoidable. I've had a Longines in the past with the same type of crystal and the same type of problems. I actually like that crystal because the crystal itself does add character to the watch. So regardless of the fact that it's got anti-reflective coating, it's going to give you those reflections because of the shape, and it's also going to give you distortion at a very acute angle. I love it, but it's a negative for people just in case, to put it out there. Second negative, that lume, like I said, being a pre-production version, I can't get the intensity, and that's a shame, and hopefully that's rectified in the final version because it'll be a damn shame to get a watch like this that looks this nice and feels this good and finished so well without having proper lume application. Third negative is that Miyota movement. It's nice and thin, it's decorated quite nicely with its custom rotor, I like it, but just be aware you're going to get some rotor noise with that movement. That's normal across the board with Miyotas. Fourth negative, and I'll call it a negative, not that it is a negative, I mean the watch is great. I think this watch is screaming bracelet, integrated bracelet, something that will match that shape coming down. It's one of those pieces which I think they should supply an option, maybe in the future, I'm not sure, but the watch itself is finished beautifully. So it really would complement to have a bracelet option for this watch. And the last negative, and I'm calling this a negative because this watch features 50 meters of water resistance with that push-pull crown. It would have been great to have 100 meters just to cater for more lifestyle events like going to the ocean, getting it wet, potentially putting it on a rubber strap just to increase the usage of this watch. And that's it, that's the negatives of the watch. As far as the positives are concerned, it's a fantastically finished watch. I love the fine brushing, I love the high polished. The quality seems to be right up there, so they've really done well on the execution of this case. It's really good to see a nice seamless blend between the two. It just works. It works really well. The style is great. The wearability has been good. The look is superb. Overall, I feel that I've got a very good finished quality product in the hand, and that's great. That's great to see from a micro brand like this. I didn't know what to expect when they contacted me and said, Pete, you want to have a look at this watch? I'm so happy that it didn't disappoint. The watch overall is a lovely product, got a nice feeling about it. Pretty versatile if you ask me with that orange seconds hand. Chuck it on a rubber orange strap, put it on a blue strap. It'd be great to see this thing on a bracelet as well, but very versatile with a modern take on a classic shape. Let me know your thoughts, guys. I'll leave all the links in the description regarding this watch. For me, I've enjoyed it. It's been a wonderful experience. I was hoping it was going to be a nicely finished product. It didn't disappoint. Thanks again, and we'll see you all in the next video.